Ho, ho, ho. The following podcast contains spoilers and is very f***ing jolly. We watch a thing. We watch a thing. Hey, do you want to kick the episode off this week, mate? Do it. Fucking do it. You've got a martini and you do it.
Hello, beautiful listeners. Welcome to We Watched a Thing. You're with me, Dave, and you're with him, Billy.
Nice. You did it, mate. First introduction. Fucking nailed it.
I know. Well, I wouldn't go that far. We've got a fantastic episode.
As always.
A bit of a change of pace. We're not talking about one thing. We're talking about 10 things.
That's right.
Well, potentially 10. There might be double-ups. We're talking top 5 Christmas movies.
Yes. In like 260 episodes, this is going to be the first kind of not really... We didn't really watch anything this week, mate. we lied on the label. But that's right. We're a week into December, mate. I've been cracking through my beer advent calendar. You'll get a kick out of this one.
Oh, perfect.
Yes, that's right. It is a...
That could be the episode picture.
it is a can modelled off the poster to Love Actually. It's called Hop Actually, a film which I don't know if it'll make your list. I know that...
I'm so intrigued to know if we double up on anything.
Me too.
I know we're not going to have a lot of double ups.
I know we have at least one.
I'm quirky as fuck, so...
Well, let's get into it then. Do you want to kick us off, mate? And to keep things interesting, instead of just numbering these 1 through 5 in the traditional sense... I reckon we go the closer you get to Christmas. So, like, your number 5 is something you'd watch at the start of December. Number 1 is your Christmas Eve, Christmas Day movie. What do you reckon?
Yep. So number 5 is the one I will watch first as we progress through this month,
Yep.
and number 1 will be the one that's last.
Yep. Let's do it.
Ironically, just having a quick glance, I don't think that is going to be any different than if I was going in order of preference.
Really? Wow.
I think
So
my number 1 is my
build-up.
favourite of these, all the way down to 5. Still being a beloved film, but yeah, weirdly, I do go through them in order of ascension in terms of how much I love them.
All right, let's get into it, mate.
Fucking hell, look at that. Alrighty, I'll kick it off. So, number 5 for me, which I watch almost every year.
Yeah. It's
the only one I probably don't watch every year. Oh, no, I tell a lie. It's the two of them that I don't necessarily watch every year. But I love this film. It's hugely underseen and underappreciated. It's one of my favourite comedies of all time, and it's directed by a fella who left us far too early. Is responsible for such wonderful films as Blow with Johnny Depp, and this film, my 5th favourite and 5th chronologically seen Christmas film, The Ref.
Right.
With Dennis Leary, Judy Davis, Kevin Spacey, although we don't talk about him too much these days.
Yeah.
It's a fairly black comedy, and Dennis Leary's a burglar, and on Christmas Eve is caught in this sort of begated, uber-rich community with all the cops after him, and ends up taking Kevin Spacey hostage, along with his wife, Judy Davis, and holding them in their house until the sort of police attention dies down. He's been caught on camera because of this bizarro bullshit homemade security system where he gets sprayed in the face with dog urine and caught on camera and sort of has to lie low.
I've never heard of this one.
And the problem being, of course, it's Christmas Eve, so Spacey and Davis have his mother and brother and her wife, his wife and their kids all coming around for dinner, and they have to sort of come up with a story as to why he's there and why, and sort of carry on Christmas dinner without raising alarms. It is hysterically funny. I don't have a huge amount of time for Dennis Leary because he's a horrendous joke thief who stole from his mate Bill Hicks, and
I dig Leary.
I dug Leary. I liked No Cure for Cancer.
Yeah.
When
the arsehole song
when I
is
sort
classic.
of came across how much he'd stolen word for word from Bill Hicks before Bill Hicks died, I sort of lost a lot of time for him. But he is wonderful in this. He's so acerbic and cynical. And to add insult to injury, he's trying to hold these guys hostage. Spacey and Davis are going through a just pre-divorce fight, and he ends up, hence the name of the movie, The Ref, he ends up spending more time keeping them from each other's throats than he does holding them hostage. It is hilariously funny. That is my number 5. What? I watch it most years, but it's only sort of semi-recently sort of fallen into my, I guess, Christmas, tradition.
What year is this from?
94.
Wow, I've never heard of this film. I'm going to have to throw this one on.
It is. You will love it.
Yeah, nice.
Watch it with Noosk. It's so funny.
Nice.
So over to you for your 5. I knew we wouldn't cross over on everything.
No, my number 5 is also a comedy, and I'm going to cheat because it's not a movie. It's an episode of a TV show. That's right. I'm going.
That's all right. I've got a giant movie in mind.
That's right. I'm going to a Christmas special. And this is one that I have watched every Christmas of my life since...
God, it's not the Star Wars one.
No, must have been 1998. I must have been 9 or so when this one aired, and I've watched it every Christmas since, to the point where it's become like one of Noosk's tradition too. We have this thing in our family called Turkey Day, completely unrelated to Thanksgiving, but sometimes it's the first weekend of December, whatever. It's the day we put the tree up and I roast a turkey and we all sit down, we watch a Christmas movie with the kids, and then Noosk and I will watch this every year. It is Mr. Hankey's Christmas Classics from South Park. It is surprisingly poignant. It is hilarious. It's 10 songs in 22 minutes. And you get some classics in there, like Mr. Hankey doing Carol of the Bells, which is one of my favorite Christmas songs. But then you've got all the originals as well, of course. Like the Mr. Hankey songs that opened it is just chef's kiss. I'm assuming you've seen this at some point, right?
God, I got nothing. Oh, I compose myself. I don't know if I've seen.
Oh man,
this. I obviously know Mr. Hankey.
Yeah.
I was one of the few who watched the very first airing of South Park in Australia when the Mr. Hankey episode. And me and I think it was maybe 1 or 2 friends were in at uni the next day going, oh my God, did you see the talking shit thing?
Oh man, yes.
It was life-changing stuff.
Yes.
But I don't think I've seen a Christmas special.
Oh man, it's brilliant. It's from
Obviously, Mr. Hankey is the spirit of Christmas.
Well, absolutely, yes.
But I've not seen a special.
Yeah. So the Mr. Hankey Christmas episode was in season 1, and we sometimes throw that on after this. But season 3, there's a Christmas special called Mr. Hankey's Christmas Classics, and it's just back-to-back songs. It's 10 songs hosted by Mr. Hankey sitting in a leather chair near the fireplace. Like, well, that's sure was
I'm
well.
So into this,
and it's just so. I mean, you have them all singing "Dreidel, Dreidel, Dreidel." As a round.
I made you out of clay.
Yes. And then Cartman, of course, comes in. I made you out of clay, but I'm not going to play with it because Dreidl's fucking gay. Like, it is absolute class. You have to check it out. We watch it every single year.
I'm so there. I'm a huge. I mean, I'm a big Trey Parker Maxode fan.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so,
I love all this stuff.
I think Trey Parker is one of the smartest
their musical
men
stuff.
on earth.
Obviously, Book of Mormon.
Oh yeah.
Billion, whatever. But I've got Blu-rays of Cannibal the Musical.
Yes, same,
South Park Big Longer Uncut.
Yeah.
They have mainly Trey,
yes,
I think, is the songwriter, but such a knack for creating comedic songs that have genuine musical talent behind them.
Well, he's clearly,
and that's what makes them work.
He's clearly such a fan of musicals. Like I'm sure that you know this. Before they met at Boulder Film School, Trey was actually studying music. I do.
And
so he's such a brilliant songwriter. So you've got to check it out. It's a lot of fun. And honestly, at the end of the episode, when Mr. Hankey sings "Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas," both Noosk and I tear up every year. He jumps up and he slides down the ham, leaving a little poo smear. But it's fantastic. You've got to check it out. So that is my number 5. So let's get over to you. Your number 4 Christmas film.
fuck me, this is going to be a change of pace. All right. My number 4 has only recently entered my Christmas watching tradition. And this will tell listeners probably more than they need to know about me. It is unequivocally the blackest comedy I have ever seen in my life. Do you remember, well, you would obviously, Taika Waititi did a little film called Jojo Rabbit that was a bit of a minor masterpiece. And there was a little fellow in that. His mum has written and directed one film.
Right. A Christmas film, I take it.
It's a Christmas film. It's a lovely film by the name of Silent Night.
Silent Night.
Doesn't it sound nice? Got Keira Knightley.
Keira Knightley, you say?
Keira Knightley, Matthew Good.
That's not a small film.
It is not. No. Keira Knightley, Matthew Good, and weirdly enough, all 3 of her sons. It concerns Nell and her husband Simon, Keira Knightley and Matthew Good, and they've got all their friends and family coming around Christmas Eve, Christmas dinner. Roman Griffin Davis, fuck it, that's his name, and his brothers something and something Griffin Davis. Well, they've never been in anything. Who gives a fuck? But he was JoJo, so that we get to know his name. They play the kids, and fuck it. If you want to see this, and I highly recommend you do, listeners, maybe click ahead 2-3 minutes now, so you don't get spoiled, because I'm about to spoil the fuck out of it for Billy's sake.
Let's do it.
Because Billy's a film nut and he'll watch it anyway.
Yeah, I don't care. Spoilers mean nothing to me.
Spoilers starting now. 3, 2, 1, boom. All right, so the world is coming to an end.
Shit.
The Russians have launched a chemical weapon.
Double shit.
That is going to, the gas-based thing, it's going to wipe out all life on Earth.
Triple
the
shit.
Scientists have said we can't fucking fix it. The British government have issued these suicide pills to the entire population so they can take them and die, peacefully in their sleep rather than rotting and dying from this horrible gas. They're all aware of this, and they're coming together for this Christmas dinner to sort of say farewell to one another before they take the suicide pill. And it's like a Neil Simon play.
Yeah.
The verbal interplay between these family members, now that they know that the cuffs are off, there's no tomorrow, they can say whatever the fuck they want. Yep. It is amazing. And there are all these jokes all the way through it, like the kids saying, fuck and cunt and stuff. Yeah. And the parents going, whatever. There's no end of the world. What am I going to do to you? It is hilariously funny, but it is incredibly black.
Yeah, right.
And the ending of it is real, almost gut-wrenching.
Yeah.
It's we talked about this a bit with the menu, where you've got moments of hilarity and then moments of this intensely dark drama, very close together. This is, and it's astonishing to me that Camille Griffin, who is the mother of Jojo Rabbit, who wrote and directed this thing, God knows how she got the caliber of stars in it that she did, because it's not just Keira Knightley, it's not just Matthew Good. There's Annabelle Wallis. There's Lily Rose Depp.
Wow.
It's all like nameplate. Everyone in it pretty much. Lucy Punch is in it.
Oh yeah, right.
From memory. There's a lot of faces you'll recognise. Yeah. They're all amazing, and it's this first time writer director, it is so good. Not a lot of people liked it because it's as black as fuck. And especially because it's a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
The whole thing is centered, it's called Silent Night, it's centered on Christmas Eve. The whole thing is about the Christmas dinner. Yeah. But it's just slapped with this black wash of despair and I don't think a lot of people took to it. Wow. I thought it was amazing.
I've never heard of it, but that sounds like my kind of movie for sure. That sounds like the kind of thing I'm going to enjoy.
It's definitely worth a look.
Yeah.
Don't accidentally put it on thinking it's called Silent Night. It's a Christmas movie. We'll watch it as a family because it will end your family. Weirdly, 90% of people going into this cold would hate it.
Yeah, yeah.
But 10% of people going to this cold would think it was the best
You know
movie
what?
they've seen in
Christmas
a decade.
movies, though, I think dark Christmas movies work tremendously well. There's something about that juxtaposition of the season, and even some of the classic Christmas movies. You watch them back now, they're dark as fuck. I rewatched Miracle on 34th Street the other day. Not on my list, not sure if it's on yours, but it's not the happiest movie, realistically.
Doesn't Santa go to fucking jail in that?
Yes.
I get that mixed up a little bit with I think it's called A Christmas Story, where the kid wants a fucking
baby
gun
Yeah,
for
yeah,
Christmas.
Yeah, or even
the most American thing in the world. The kid wants a gun for Christmas, and Santa gives it to him.
I mean, even there's a movie which I won't mention because it may enter at least one of our lists, which effectively revolves around suicide, and that's Christmas movies for you. I think there's something beautiful about that.
Yeah. In order for the, quote-unquote Christmas spirit portion of the Christmas movie to work,
there has to be a down.
There needs to be some sort of redemption arc, because otherwise there's no point to it.
Yeah.
It needs to have weight.
Yeah.
And I won't mention it yet because it may pop up, but there are certain films that are viewed as Christmas films that I may or may not love as a movie.
Yeah.
But that to me are not fucking Christmas movies, regardless of whether Topher thinks they are or not. Because they don't revolve around
the spirit
Christmas.
of Christmas. Yeah.
Just taking place at Christmas does not make it a fucking Christmas movie.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
All right.
Here we go. My number 4 then. Speaking of a kind of redemption arc, this is one of the great ones from a kid who starts as quote unquote a little jerk. It's everybody knows this film. I'm not going to talk about it for long. It's Home Alone. Fucking John Hughes classic. Like I said, Turkey Day every year. We watch a movie with the kids, and then news can I throw in Mr. Hankey's Christmas classics. Home Alone is the movie we've thrown on the last 3 years with the kids, and I think it is a near perfect Christmas film. Macaulay Culkin is actually great in this film for a child actor. And I think it really nails that whole spirit of Christmas thing. It's hilarious. It's one of those films where for the first half, you could think it's just set at Christmas, but it's about the hijinks. But by the end, it really brings up that heart to it. And I really enjoy this film.
World's worst parents.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Topher and I did this on the show 3 Christmases ago. We did one, and then we did number 2 for the patrons as well. Those parents are terrible. They're very, very bad.
They go on holidays, they forget a kid. They should be in fucking jail.
I mean, in their defense, that is a lot of kids.
Jesus Christ, put the dick down.
Yeah.
At some point.
But you can't trust a kid to count kids. That's a problem.
He is a sociopath, so they may well have left him behind on purpose.
Well, absolutely. I don't want to get...
I've never seen the sequel.
Oh, you've never seen Home Alone 2?
Yeah, no, full disclosure, I'm not a huge Home Alone fan.
Right. Yeah, wow.
I find, and no discredit to his performance because he is great in it, but I hate Macaulay Culkin in this movie.
I mean, that's
fucking
that's fair.
I find him appalling.
Yeah.
My sympathies are entirely with, what are they called? The fucking wet bandits or soggy bandits?
Yeah, the wet bandits, yeah.
My sympathies are entirely with them.
Yeah.
They're robbing, sure, but other than that, they're not fucking bad guys. And Jesus Christ, they go through the 9 circles of hell.
Oh, they really do. They really, really do. Yeah. All right, over to you for your number 3 then.
All right, number 3. God, I love this fucking movie. What comes to mind when I say the following words to you? Christmas zombie musical.
Oh, it's Anna and the Apocalypse. I got to tell you something, mate.
Fucking Apocalypse.
I'd never seen this movie before. I watched it the other night for the first time. I didn't love it.
You're killing me.
I didn't love this film. Like, it had, I went in knowing that you love it. I kind of threw it on because I'd heard you mention before how much you enjoyed it. I was like, oh yeah, I'm looking for something to watch. Because I'm in that Christmas season where you just watch anything related to Christmas. Just before it, I'd watched a horror movie called You Better Watch Out, which you might have seen. It's kind of a home invasion film with a bit of a twist on it. Okay. And that was quite enjoyable. And then I threw this on and I was like, you know what? I don't love this. I'm very sorry to say. But you, please, tell me what you love about it.
Well, this probably tells you all you need to know about my kids. This is our Christmas family thing.
Yeah, right. Yep.
Where the soundtrack lives in our car.
Yep.
It gets put on almost every day. I love everything about it. I love the fact it's set in Scotland because, like, heritage-wise, Scotland, resonates with me. I love that it's a musical. I love that it's got zombies. I love the comedy in it. The songs are so good. Just the idea that it's a musical with zombies, I love.
Yeah.
There's not enough of those.
Yeah.
I love the backstory of it where Ryan McHenry had this 20-something-year-old Scottish guy had written this thing called Zombie the Musical. It was I think it was a stage thing.
Yep.
And wanted to get it made as a movie and then died at the age of 20-something.
Jesus, that's tragic as fuck.
It got sort of picked up and it became this labour of love for Alan MacDonald and later the director John McPhail. And even the cast, I've seen sort of the behind the scenes and the making of stuff, and that they were all sort of doing it for Ryan.
Yeah.
And so I love all of that part of it. Even apart from that, the horror nut in me loves the idea of a Christmas musical that has zombies in it and takes place during a zombie apocalypse. So everything about it resonates with me. I know most people, even sort of horror fans or musical fans, sort of go, "Oh yeah, it's sort of 3 out of 5. It's quite good. I quite like it." But everything about it works for me. Yeah. I just adore it, and I love the fact that it's a horror thing that I can watch with the kids. Even though, I mean, my kids are my younger daughter in particular. I mean, she's watched Nightmare on Elm Street. She's working her way through Stranger Things, and she's 10. So, My kids are kind of resonate with this stuff anyway. But no, Anna and the Apocalypse, I really love. I've become a big fan of Ella Hunt off the back of it, and have since she's moved on, thankfully to bigger and better things, and is now in large scale British and American things. Yep. You've got Paul Kaye in there, who I've liked for many, many years. People would know him from being Thoros of Myr in Game of Thrones. Yep. Mark Benton, also a great British actor. It's just wonderful. I love it.
It was one of those movies for me where I kind of felt bad not enjoying it, because there's nothing. It's not a bad movie by any stretch, and like you say, there's lots of great things about it. I did find most of the songs catchy. I did enjoy all the acting. But I just overall couldn't get into it, and I couldn't really put my finger on why.
And you're with most people are with you.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's been negative about it.
Yeah.
It's generally well reviewed, but very few people seem to really love it.
Yeah.
I think it just weirdly struck a chord with me the way Hamilton did with some people, and I think Hamilton's as fucking mediocre as the day is long.
Oh man, them's fighting words.
Billy, I've tried to watch Hamilton twice, and I've still never finished.
You know what the problem is? Watching it. The Disney Plus thing gave me the shits. I think when we reviewed that, I gave it a really low score. But just listening to the soundtrack from start to finish, that's the way to do it.
It's fucking boring as shit. It's just fucking terrible.
Jesus. Who have I invited on this show?
2 songs that I can sit through. One of them's the fucking Room Where It Happened one, and I can't even remember what the other one is.
Jesus.
The rest of it, I fucking skip through. The kids all love it. They want to put it on. I fucking... me and the kids, we all get 5 vetoes. And it's one of my 5 vetoes in the car. I don't want to have to listen to it.
Who have I let onto this program? I'm going to have people adding me on Twitter saying, what the fuck are you doing?
You and fucking Dean and Daniel from fucking Movie Journey can all get together and listen to the fucking Hamilton soundtrack, and I'll just...
That sounds like a party. I'm keen for that. All right. Let's get over to my number 3. This is a bit of a weird one. Are you a Terry Pratchett fan at all, Dave?
Oh, God, yeah.
So
who isn't? I know where you're going.
Are you familiar with the Discworld story Hogfather?
Oh, bring it on.
Are you familiar with the fact that there was a mini-series made of Hogfather and that it fucking slaps?
Does it not have... oh, my God, I'm going to forget his name. It's... Only Fools and Horses. Fucking after open all hours. Oh God, you go. I'm going to be quiet.
It's got who I know in it is Michelle Dockery from Downton Abbey, which I'm a big fan of. But
of course you are.
Yeah, British royalty. It's got David Jason, Mark Warren, David Warner, Tony Robinson.
Thank you.
Nigel Planer is in it, who of course narrated most of the Discworld audiobooks. And it is exceptional. Like, it's long. It's a mini-series, as it should be, because it captures this whole story. The great thing about it is, though, that you don't have to be familiar with the Discworld series at all, really, to enjoy it. It's just a really...
No, well, that's the case with all the Discworld adaptations. Yes, they all stand alone. The recent... God, what's his name from Coupling? Did the... post whatever one, and it's completely standalone. You don't need to have you don't need to have read 30 bloody novels beforehand. You can jump straight in. They're all like that. Yeah,
it's just this really fun kind of alternative Christmas movie where, because of course it's not actually about Christmas, because it's this fantasy world and it involves death instead of Santa and all of these really weird kind of plot beats. There's this whole story with the Tooth Fairy, which is completely out of left field. But it has, like you were saying before about what makes a Christmas movie, it has that feel about it. And it kind of captures the spirit of Christmas in that classic Terry Pratchett way that is so off the wall and so much fun. And it's really well put together. Like, for a Sky miniseries, it's actually really well produced, and it's just a lot of fun at Christmas time. We watch it nearly every year now.
Yeah, no, I'm a huge Pratchett fan. I haven't read nearly as many of his 50,000 books as I would have liked, but his sensibility really sort of speaks to me. Even collaborative stuff like Good Omens.
Because Neil Gaiman is also a fucking legend.
Don't even get me started. But... Hogfather didn't even cross my radar when I was putting this together, or it may well have made my five. Yeah. So we possibly would have crossed over on that. Absolutely a phenomenal pick.
Well, here we go, up to your number 2, and still no crossovers.
My number 2, and this is where I play my cheat card a little bit, because this is not a movie.
Yep.
I'm tentatively calling it a telly movie, but it's really a Christmas special of a TV show. So Boxing Day every year in the UK in particular, but also in Australia and around the world for fans of a particular TV show, is a very special time, because it's when the Christmas special gets aired.
Of Doctor Who?
Indeed. And in 2010... they outdid themselves with an adaptation of The Christmas Story, i.e. A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens, that had the inimitable Michael Gambon in the Scrooge role. It was during the tenure of my favourite Doctor, Matt Smith.
Yeah, most people's favourite Doctor.
Usurped that position from Tom Baker, who was the Doctor for like 8 years when I was growing up.
Yeah.
But Matt Smith was so fucking incredible in that role. He rocketed to number 1. It's also during the tenure of some of my favourite companions, Amy and Rory, and it is the best adaptation of A Christmas Carol I've ever seen.
Yeah. Interesting.
It's the first time I've cried.
Wow.
In a TV episode prior to that, since I'd watched Goodbye Farewell and Amen, the final episode of Mac.
Wow.
It is wonderful.
Wow.
In broad terms, the Amy and Rory are stuck on this shuttle spacecraft that's caught in a storm above this planet and is going to be torn to shreds, and they're going to die within the hour.
Yep.
The Doctor is down on the planet, discovers that the storm is artificially constructed as a protective layer around the planet, and the only one that can turn it off is this uber-rich head of a corporation, played by Michael Gambon, and after confronting him, learns he's a complete cunt and he just wants everyone to die because he hates everyone. so proceeds to go back using the TARDIS to go back through this guy's life from him as a young boy, and revisits him every year on Christmas Eve, trying to change his persona. He discovers why he's so bitter, and then through the course of his life tries to change him so that in the present he becomes the sort of person that would want to turn off the storm to save a bunch of strangers in a shuttle, rather than the bitter old man who goes, I don't know them, couldn't give a crap, it's not worth my time to flip this switch. Yeah, exactly. So it's a wonderful kind of science fictionization of the story, but all the important points of the Christmas Carol tale are still there. It still has all the feels of Christmas, even down to the magic of snow and all these things. It's truly wonderful. Wow. And even for non-Doctor Who fans, I would encourage anyone to seek it out. I think if you jump around in whatever platform Doctor Who lives on in your part of the world, I think in Australia it's on Stan at the moment, but it's at least for the time being, not sure. From memory, it's around about season 8. Just look for the one called A Christmas Carol. Duh. Yeah. And it is worth... Everyone will enjoy this. It is an hour of wonderful TV.
This is interesting then, because we're number 2 and no crossovers, but interestingly, both of our number 2s are adaptations of A Christmas Carol. Because it's one of the classic stories. I read the book every year as well. I absolutely love it.
It's the Christmas story.
It really is.
It's fuck me. It's Dickens. You can't top it.
And it's so funny that he wrote it for a paycheck, effectively, and yet it is
all his stuff was for a paycheck.
And yet it is one of the iconic Christmas stories. And and there's been so many adaptations of it. You could throw a stone at your TV and hit an adaptation of this story at Christmas time.
Oh, yeah.
So mine, of course, is the most recent with Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds. It's Spirited. No, I'm fucking with you.
Oh, Jesus Christ! Oh, my God! I'm about to quit the fucking podcast!
No. It is a Muppet Christmas Carol. Where are you on the Muppets, Dave?
Mike again!
Where are you on the Muppets?
Oh, who doesn't love the Muppets?
Doesn't?
Come on.
The Muppets are fantastic, and this movie it's the Muppets' best movie.
I reckon this is the best Muppets film of all of them.
Absolutely.
Other people like the original or Manhattan or whatever, but I reckon that the Christmas Carol is the best.
I'm exactly there. I like a lot of the Muppet stuff. I like the original TV show, but this movie is the best thing the Muppets have ever been involved with. It is so good. Michael Caine as Scrooge is fantastic in that role. It tells the story effectively, very faithfully, but just with Muppets, which is fun. I can't think of a bad thing about this movie. We watch it every Christmas Eve, and we have done well before we had kids. This is just our standard Christmas Eve viewing at this point.
You know what's weird? I love this film. I do. I adore it. Yep. It is, like I said, for me, it's the best thing the Muppets have ever done. I love everything about it.
Yep.
I haven't seen it in years.
Wow, you've got.
I don't know why. Wow. I don't know why. I don't even think my kids have seen it. It's just for some reason it's just been off my radar. I'm going to have to throw it on.
You absolutely should,
because it's so good. It's just wonderful.
All right, well here we are, mate. Hit us with your number 1. And I'm very, very curious to see if our number 1 is our
There was never a question. It's literally one of my top 10 films of all time. What comes to mind when I say the phrase Zuzu?
Yes. Here's our crossover. Yes.
That's right. It's The Adventures of Ford Fairlane. No. See, by far the best thing about that film is the fact there's a character called Zuzu Pedals. No, it's a wonderful life. Yep. It is Capra's masterwork, Jimmy Stewart's finest work, and by God, that's saying something because Mr. Smith, whatever, Jimmy Smith's amazing. Yeah. Jimmy Stewart. I've adored this since the first time I saw it, which was as a very young child, and then completely rekindled my love with it through my love of Red Dwarf because David Lister's such a huge fan, and there's the whole plotline in Red Dwarf where he creates a fake universe where he gets to live in a version of Bedford Falls, and that brought me back to it
Yep.
as, I don't know, late teens, early 20s, whatever age I was. And ever since then, I've watched it every single Christmas Eve. It's the last thing I watch after I've finished wrapping the presents. The kids are all in bed.
Yeah.
I've watched the Doctor Who special with my older daughter. She's gone to bed. I can relax.
Yep.
Everything's done. It's usually about 3 o'clock in the fucking morning.
Yep.
But that's when I can crack a whiskey, sit back, put my feet up, and that's what goes on.
Yep.
And that is my end of Christmas Eve every year and has been for nigh on 20 years now.
Yeah. That's also when we watch it, Christmas Eve, once the kids are in bed wrapping presents. Long-term listeners of the show, yourself included, will know that I only saw this film for the first time 3 years ago when Topher and I did it for the show.
You're full of surprises, and I never ceases to surprise me when you come out with these fucking left of centre crazy statements.
And Topher didn't like this movie. He'd never seen it either, and he was not a fan.
What?
I adored this movie. I loved it so much. Not only do I watch it every year,
You have a heart. Topher's dead to me.
not only do I watch it every year, I watch it twice every year. I own both the black and white and the colorized version, and I will watch.
Oh my god, I've never seen that.
The colorized version is actually beautiful.
No.
Yes, you have to check it out. It is beautiful. It is like a piece of art within itself. Like,
All right, so I'm going to derail you for a second because I do want to hear all of your story about this, obviously, because I'm assuming this is your number one.
yes, of course. This is my number one
good.
as well. Yes.
All right. So as a visual effects guy, how the fuck do they do? I mean, I'm assuming it's not all fucking hand painted like it was back in the days when F.W. Murnau was doing Sunrise and shit. But
Yeah. I mean,
really?
Yeah. I mean, these days at least you could probably track through so that you don't have to paint every frame. You could probably do some tweening. But for the most part, yes, it is hand painted every frame, and that is still by far the best way to colorize. And it is.
Jesus, that must.
So that's the thing for me as an artist. Watching the colorized version has this whole other level of beauty to it, where they have because of course that's the other thing about colorizing. You might not be capturing the colors exactly as they were on set. Like,
well, you're guessing, surely.
Exactly, yeah. You're guessing by the tones and the hues and kind of your knowledge of color and color theory. And it is beautiful to watch. I'm telling you right now, I know that I understand that there would be a huge % of the population who would be like, that's sacrilege. The movie is perfect.
Oh no, I'm not in that boat. That the fucking weirdo purist thing where, oh my god, it's not what the artist did. Because let's face it, if Frank Capra had access to making colour films,
they didn't have
in 1930, whatever the fuck,
then.
he would have fucking made a colour film. Yeah. It's not a choice for it to be black and white.
Yeah.
It's not like Sin City. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not an artistic part of it. So I've got no fucking attachment to that. Don't care. If it looks good, I'm keen. I'll check it out.
Yeah.
I'll.
In fact,
seek it
there's
out.
many different colorized versions. I'm actually not sure exactly which one I have, but I believe there's at least 3 different colorizations of the film. Once you check it out, I want to hear your thoughts because I love both, and like I said, I actually watch both every year. The first time I did it for the show, I watched the black and white version. You know, the original to record the episode. And then I said to Noosk, this is one of the best movies I've ever seen. And we watched it again that year in colorized. And it was just stunning. So I do that every year now. I watch both versions, and we watch it together on Christmas Eve while wrapping.
See, this is why we're friends, because you have the same response to things that I do. Yeah. You responded to Night of the Hunter the same way I did. Fucking no one else did.
That was the origin of the Big
this.
Dizzle's Big Call sound drop.
It is. I made that happen.
Yeah. Well, there you go. That is our top 5 Christmas films of all time.
I love the fact we crossed over at number 1 and nowhere else. It's amazing.
I knew we were
like 2 ships heading towards each other, and then we collided at the star on the top of the Christmas tree.
As soon as I wrote my list, I knew that number 1 was going to be a crossover because I know how much you also love that film. But I feel sad that I hadn't seen it for the first 30 odd years of my life, and I just want to watch it. In fact, it's so funny. My local cinema, Dendy, are showing it on Christmas Eve. And I sent...
I've never seen it on the big screen.
I sent the email to Noosk, and her response was, we own it. I was like, yeah, I get that.
It's
but
not the same.
Okay, sure. We have a home theater. I get that news. It's not the same.
See, I would love to see it with an audience.
Yeah.
A few of our mutual friends on.
Yes, I've seen that Nick Haskins
on the Countdown chat over in the States.
Yep.
There's several showings on it. I think it's one in Texas and one in.
Because it's the 75th anniversary this year.
Yeah, there's a few places doing big cinema showings, and I've been watching everyone. Adam Miller, I know, is going, and a few other guys have posted that they're buying tickets, and I'm so jealous.
Yep.
I would love to see a big cinema showing of this, particularly like one of these sort of event ones, like an outdoor showing or something where everyone's coming together through their love of this film.
Yes.
The atmosphere would just be wonderful.
Yep. The best screening of a film I ever saw, and it's almost embarrassing to say now, but when The Force Awakens came out, I saw it 7 times, believe it or not. Topher and I made a special...
How do you feel about that now, having seen the second fucking Star Wars film JJ did?
Topher and I made a special trip to IMAX to see it, but I'd already...
He still thinks it's one of the best things in sliced bread.
Yeah.
It's a very good remake of A New Hope.
But I had already seen it 6 times, and I was going to a visual effects conference where people from Lucasfilm were speaking and presenting.
Ooh.
And they did a screening outdoors. It was at the Abbotsford Convent in Melbourne. They did an outdoor screening of Force Awakens, followed by a Q&A with some of the lead visual effects artists. And to this day, it was one of the best screenings I've been to.
Oh, well, let's face it, the visual effects are not shit. They're good.
Yeah.
The writing's fine.
Yeah.
It is exactly what he did with Star Trek. He rebooted it and used 90% of the original story and added a few tweaks and whatever. It's a good film. It's just not a great film.
Yeah.
Whereas Last Jedi, Casino aside, is a great film.
Yeah.
And then he did Rise of Skywalker, which is the worst film ever.
Well, there you go. That's our top 5 Christmas films, and that was fun. It was fun to do something a bit different.
I'm so pleased that we were so different. We came and I'm also pleased that we crossed over as we should on the greatest.
And now the audience has 9 Christmas films to check out, and it's only the 8th of December, so you got plenty of time to get through it, folks.
And I think we might try and put together some links to where you can find this stuff.
Yeah,
to make it easier for you to go and watch these things wherever you may reside.
Yep. Well, there you go. Next week, we're also not watching a thing.
No! We're recommending some things.
Next week is going to be the start of a series called Required Viewing, where we're going to go through our hidden gem television shows, and then we'll come back in about a month time having watched each other's list. So that'll be fun.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. I've got no idea what you're going to throw at me.
Yes, I just hope that you haven't seen them, because that is the one requirement of being here.
I'm quietly confident. I'm sort of putting the finishing touches to my little list, but I'm quietly confident I am going to bring you some early Christmas joy.
Nice. Well, in the meantime, if you want to get in touch with us, you can do that at wewatchedathing.com or wewatchedathing@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, all under the handle at wewatchedathing. If you want to help support the show, you can do that at patreon.com/wewatchedathing, and we'll catch you next week.
And for God's sake, go watch It's a Wonderful Life.